Welcome to part 2 of the Michael Childers episode, Stories from the River. If you haven't listened to part 1, go back and listen to that right now. We're about to get started with part 2. Michael, let's go.
Let's do it.
Join Charlie Maloof as he explores the personal journeys of Broad River Retail's very own memory makers. Welcome to Stories from the River.
Since you've been a memory maker for almost half of your life,
Yes.
You were 18, not an adult when you were not a memory maker. So for your entire adult life, almost, you've been a memory maker. And what is something that you've learned about yourself through the last 12 plus years that you've been able to accomplish that has surprised even you?
That I belong here and that people like me belong here.
Did you not feel like you belonged early on?
No. So I definitely, for the first, maybe year or two, I really had impostor syndrome. I remember sitting in rooms for GM meetings, for RX meetings, and just looking around and just being like, man, I'm out of my league. And actually, Kevin was one of the people that was like, okay, like people like me can make it in this industry, right? And so just that I belong here and not to doubt myself and just go for it.
That's
just
great.
Go get it.
That's great. Did you expect to achieve this level of success?
Yes, absolutely.
You always saw
absolutely.
it? What do you think differentiates your level of performance from others?
Endurance. I've always talked about endurance, emotional endurance, physical endurance, spiritual endurance. I truly believe whoever's across the line for me will tap before I do.
Where does that endurance come from?
I think just growing up and being an athlete, I understand the importance of process.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the importance of numbers. The more shots you take, the more points you score.
Okay.
And the more efficient you are with your process, the more of those shots that are going to go in, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about being fearless, but being terrified at the same time.
Yeah, I think the more people listen to you, they're going to hear both confidence, fearless, but also trust the process,
right?
And have a system tied around it.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't know this about me, but I'm definitely more motivated by fear than I am success.
Really?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I love to win, and I'm gonna win, and that's the attitude that I have when I approach everything. But the reason I'm gonna relentlessly chase that thing is because I'm terrified of losing.
Wow.
I'm terrified for what it does for my family, for me, for the people around me. And so losing becomes that thing that you're just constantly fighting off,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's where some folks wear themselves out, is they focus on the prize and they don't realize the damage they're doing and how they're getting closer and closer to losing or failing, right? And so for me, the fear of failure, I've experienced that in my life. I've seen what that looks like. And so that for me is one of the biggest motivators.
Okay. Fast forward to the end of your days. You've hung up your cleats and you're looking back at your illustrious career and people are talking about Michael Childers and they're remembering Michael Childers. What are the 3 words you want them to say to describe you?
Well, first, I hope I made them laugh and I hope I made them some money. But I would like them to describe me as relentless, positive. I'm not a negative person. I don't even like being around negative people. And innovator. I love seeing what that next level is. I'm never the type of guy that arrives and made it. One of my superpowers, I was a broke kid from China Grove when I walked in, and I can tell you that's that same mentality I carry with me today. Mm-hmm. I have more experience. I've accomplished more things. But as far as that thought process, right, of just being hungry and going after it, that exists still to this day.
Yeah, just having known you so long, I think that would surprise a lot of people is just how creative and innovative you really are in your thought process.
Absolutely.
You really can distill, you can hear something and really distill some powerful, like taking the Wolf of Wall Street to a straight line close.
Yeah.
Or hearing a speaker and taking that and then you latch onto it. You don't forget it. I've heard you repeat speakers' quotes. I went, oh man, heard 10 things since I forgot that one, but
Yeah.
you latch onto it.
They stick.
Yeah.
I think, what's that quote? The secret to life is not opening your eyes, but allowing them to see. Right. So you know, there's messages all around us. You've got to be open to receive them.
Absolutely. As you've been with the company now for as long as you've been, how have you seen Broad River grow, adapt, change? And so speak to that for a little bit.
So I think Broad River's superpower is collaboration. We have some amazing people across all departments. And so coming into the organization, I believe we had 6 locations at the time. I think we did maybe $40 million, something like that. I could be off on that one.
Sure, roughly.
But now being God, I can't even keep up with how many stores we have. 28 now almost.
By the time this airs, we'll have 30.
There you go. So 30 home stores and $300 million, and just, you know, achieving all these amazing things. I'd say it's possible because of the people truly believe in the vision, and that starts with you, Charlie. You know, one of the things that, you know, we call this stories from the river. I was doing some research on rivers, and all rivers start at a high point. All rivers. So whether it be a mountain or a hill. And so what that tells you is it starts from the top, right? And so the power of this river starts with you, and it continues with all of the special memory makers that we have throughout our organization.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And it started before me, and I just continued it. And it
Right.
even started before the people who started it, because it always started in the people who
Absolutely.
are parents and our upbringing. But I want the audience to hear that this guy did research on rivers as his
Absolutely.
preparation for this talk. So there's something to that. Do you want to recognize any unsung heroes or people in your world who kind of help you make it happen?
Yes. Missy Charity was mentioned earlier. She's amazing. Anyone that is on a dock right now loading a truck, anyone that's in a home right now delivering product, anyone that's answering a phone and taking care of a guest need, thank you. Janet Lime Cooler, Tim Sales, you know, those folks are just so critical. Our visual team, you know, Karen, Shelby, they work so hard to make our stores look beautiful. Somebody's going to be mad at me for not talking about Eric.
Yeah.
Eric.
He's been on the
So
podcast.
Eric was, I actually met Eric the first day I started. He was the showroom mover in Mooresville when I started. So getting to work with him.
Everything
in
comes
Four
back
Oaks,
to day one.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
That's cool. Bringing it back full circle. Our company's word of the year is thrive.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you to thrive?
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats.
Everybody eats. You know, I'm not someone that is self-absorbed or does something for myself.
Okay.
I actually struggle with that. I struggle with doing things for myself or wanting things for myself. So thriving for me is really seeing smiling faces, and
that brings you joy
yeah,
to see others do
absolutely.
well. I love that about you.
And I know if they win, I'll win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, what advice would you give them to win, to thrive? Like, give advice to someone to thrive this year.
Go get it. Get up right now and do something.
Don't wait.
Yeah. Don't
Win
wait.
the day.
No one's coming to hand it to you. I truly believe you will get whatever you want out of this business. If you want to find an excuse, you will find one.
Okay.
If you want to find a solution, you'll find that too.
There's a lot of excuses.
And
I
so,
tell you,
yeah,
wherever you live, you look for them.
exactly. And that applies to anything. Whatever it is you're looking for in life, that's exactly what you're going to find.
Love it.
If you obsess over, you know, the target and work your way backwards from there, you're going to get there. But so many people look at that first obstacle and stop.
Yeah, focusing on the target, beginning with the end in
Right.
mind. That's one of the 7 habits from Stephen Covey, I believe. What's the best advice you've ever received?
I've received so much advice, so that's very difficult to narrow down to one individual. But one of the people that were mentioned, Inky Johnson, you know, talks about how every problem is really a gift. It's a lesson. And that's held so true for me. You know, growing up the way that I did caused a lot of pain and a lot of anger when I was a child and even a teenager. But what I didn't realize is God had a vision for me. He knew that I was going to have a child at 18. And he needed me to react a different way than a typical 18-year-old kid. And so he put me through those trials to develop me to be a better father. And so, you know, that's been something that's held well for me. and it's really relevant for me. Rick Rush gave me advice one time. I used to obsess over just doing everything. I just wanted to do everything. And Rick told me one day, he said, Michael, sometimes you just got to let your awesome people be awesome, right?
I can
And
see
it
Rick
sounds
saying
simple.
that. I can see Rick saying that too.
It sounds simple, but it was really dynamic, and it speaks to trust. It speaks to a lot of the reasons he's had the success that he's had is because he lets people go and do what they're great at.
That's
and
great.
So that really helped me throughout my career as well.
Someone starting on the sales floor, what advice would you give them?
That your effort matters, that you do have influence over your results. You own that. No one can take credit for your success, but no one can shoulder the blame for your failure.
Okay.
And so you've got to own that. And that goes back to what I said before. Whatever it is you're looking for, you're going to find it. But use your time to develop your craft.
Yeah.
Use your time to, if you look at a professional athlete, they'll obsess over shooting a free throw. A professional athlete. A 5-year-old does the same thing when they shoot a free throw, right? They stand at the line, everyone stands still, and you shoot for 1 point. That never changes. But a professional athlete spends hours in the gym shooting free throws. The small details matter. The small details matter, and you have to practice them. You have to get good at them.
They're not just going to happen. They're skills.
And you've got to do them until you don't have to think about it anymore, right?
Practice until you can't get it wrong.
Exactly.
Not to get it right until you can't not get it right.
Exactly.
So what are the top qualities or characteristics that contribute to the biggest success on the sales floor, in your opinion?
Attitude, positivity.
Okay.
You can't you can't catch positive fish with negative bait. There's a lot of them. You're not going to make $1 million with a minimum wage work ethic. It's just never going to happen.
Say that one more time. You're not going to make $1 million
with a minimum wage work ethic.
Well, that's another Michael
Will
Childers.
not happen.
Is that a Michael Childers original?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it. Right.
We'll
So
attribute it to
you just got to show up to work every day and put the shovel in the dirt. And that's
got to pick up your shovel every single day.
That's the biggest thing for me is just understanding this business is not supposed to be easy. And the danger about this business is sometimes it is. And so people start to believe that they don't have to put effort into this to be successful. And that's just not true. That's just not true. You've got to come and be prepared to fight it out every day.
Even the best are putting in extraordinary
Absolutely.
effort to stay there, maintain that level of excellence,
Absolutely.
or to try to get better 1% every day.
Take yourself seriously, make people smile, make people laugh, engage others, learn, and the rest will take care of itself.
So if you could go back to January 24th, 2010, when you're vomiting and nervous about your
Oh my
first day,
goodness.
what would you go back and tell your younger self about what life is going to be like at the river?
Buckle up. Buckle up.
What advice would you give? What advice would you give your younger self?
So my grandmother used to tell me this, and
With someone who had an impostor syndrome.
she used to always tell me that I was enough. That would be what I would definitely go back and tell myself.
100%.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I think I've heard you say that phrase. I know it's emotional. I can see the emotion that you belong here, and I see you I see the emotion of you telling yourself that in your mental picture right now. And you do, and you did, and you have, and it's been amazing. So we've talked about so many things about our culture, and you said our superpower was collaboration. What is your favorite thing about our culture here at the river? In your opinion, what makes it so special?
I think it's so special because we don't have this false sense of control or confidence. We understand what our opportunities are, and we're always looking for ways to innovate and collaborate and change and grow. And that's what makes us unique. I've met so many folks over my career. Sorry, I'm probably the first one to say vomit and cry on your podcast, so I apologize.
First of maybe many. We're still early in the season one.
Yeah. Gosh, I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about the culture and maybe not being
so,
showy.
Yeah, we just have so much opportunity, and I've met so many folks in different licensees, and you can almost tell that they're judging everything. Like, oh, we do it this way, we do it that way. We don't do that here. Like, we want to know all the best practices. We want to learn from
There's
others.
some humility in that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you'd be crazy to not innovate in
So
this
collaboration is
industry.
not just amongst ourselves, but it's looking outside our four walls and sourcing best ideas. What is one thing that you think? So you're talking about other people coming in, and you've had experiences from others. What is one thing that you about Broad River that you think would surprise others from the outside looking in? Maybe a misperception or something.
You know, I feel like everyone's going to kind of have the same answer, but it's just true. It's genuine. It's genuine. Nobody's putting on a show for anyone. Like, these are folks that are truly passionate about what they do. They care about what they do. They care about each other. And that shows through our performance. That shows through our growth and the things that we do in our community. Another thing that I would say is that the community involvement that we have comes from the right place. You know, I think that's the biggest part of what we do here with Hope to Dream and St. Jude and Beds for Kids and all the other organizations we partner with. We're not doing it for show
The
or
applause, yeah.
right. That's not it. You know, for us, we're truly doing it to impact our community.
It will pegs to our purpose, which is furnishing life's best memories for others,
Right.
and being mindful of our organizational wake and wanting to make a positive impact on the lives of others that we get the privilege and to interact with. What is something about you that would surprise your fellow memory makers?
Oh goodness. So probably that I used to be terrified of public speaking. That's something that I actually have a passion for now. And something I want to pursue in life is speaking and doing more podcasts and doing things like this. And it didn't used to be like that. I used to be nervous, even just standing up to do a role play scrimmage in front of my team.
Wow.
And so, you know, another thing is that it's not always been easy for me. I've not always been the guy that was having success. I've been through the struggle, right? You know, I've been through the rapid part of the river, right? And so, you know, I got here through fighting and through fire, not flash.
Well, I think it's very similar. I think you'll do great at public speaking, and I'd show up for when you're talking. Yeah, I'd go see you speak, but I think it's also like the thing we talked about, the numbers. You're not a numbers guy.
Right.
It was a weakness. You made it a strength. So you were nervous about speaking. You can and will and have turned it into a strength. Because I know when you're talking on a Zoom video or a presentation, folks are dialed in and they're listening and they're commenting and responding to the power in your voice and in your words and the thoughtfulness that comes behind, because you've really thought about some of the things well before you say it and the message and the way that you want to deliver that.
So I got over that because I started focusing not on what I was doing, but why I was doing it. Right. And what I realized is I had the ability to help other people grow professionally, personally, get better at what they do. And so locking in on that helped me overcome any fear of the situation because of the impact I knew that I could make.
It's a difference maker.
Right.
Yeah. It helps you get over your fear. If you could change one thing about the company today with the wave of a magic wand, it was just that easy, what would it be?
I wouldn't change much. Maybe do some different things just to make it fun. You know, COVID, Lord willing, we'll just never hear that ever again. But who knows what's going to happen with that. I'd love to see us have like a quarterly all-star weekend where you get all your $1 million writers, all your experts together in the flagship store of each region, and they compete.
I love that idea.
All-star weekend.
That's awesome. All-star weekend. We got that. No, that's
maybe
creative.
throw out a little field day action where every department has a field day.
Yeah.
You know, just do things like that. Get back to that's one of the things that makes Broad River so special. Pre-COVID, man, we were so good at connecting and collaborating and just having time to fellowship.
So let's say Rick Rush's prophecy comes true, and I'm retiring, and you're taking over the company. You're the new president and CEO, and today is your first day. What's your first order of business?
First order of business would be to connect with my leadership and thank them and tell them they matter and see how I can help them and make sure I truly understand what they're fighting for. And so that'd probably be my first approach.
I love that. So, Michael, in talking about your success, how much has luck or good fortune played a role in your success versus hard work and skill?
So I believe God provides opportunities, and you have to be the one to put the work in, right? And so I think it's more hard work than skill. I think most of the results that are achieved in this business, the skill set you develop is through just working hard at your craft. Luck, does it have something to do with it? Sure. I'm sure that it has something to do with it. I was lucky to that Michelle said yes and gave me an opportunity. I've been lucky to meet great leaders and work for great leaders throughout my life. But as far as the result came through execution. And
Awesome.
and that's where we get that from.
Well, I know that family is such a big part
Absolutely.
of your life. I mean, I still have the video of when you surprised Macy with the trip and you texted
Yeah.
that video to us. Did you ever go on that trip?
We did not. So COVID actually shut down the trip.
Okay.
And then it expired. We never got the opportunity to go on it.
Well, hopefully you took her on another trip.
Well, we've been on a few trips.
Okay,
yeah.
great. And now your kids are growing up and getting and big. And you just sent me a video of Brody's first home run or first at bat of the season and mashed it. So he's going to be a basher, a bomber.
Yeah.
And what is it like being a dad?
It's amazing.
What does fatherhood mean to you?
It means everything to me. That's my purpose in life, is to provide them every opportunity possible to make sure they're great citizens, they're great people, they influence the world around them. They don't just exist, right?
Well, I know you're going to continue to be a phenomenal father and spend time. Just coming down this final sprint here. Thanks for the endurance to stick this out.
I'm good.
To someone who is not a memory maker and is considering joining the company, coming to the river, what advice would you offer to that person?
So it's interesting, this question, I was reading this one, and I think that I kind of discussed with you before what I would say to this, but I changed it.
Okay.
I would say it means something to wear this jersey, and don't even put it on if you're not all in.
That's great advice.
That's not who we're looking for.
That's great advice.
If you've got to talk yourself into it, probably don't belong here.
Michael, are there any final words that you wanted to say that we haven't covered during our conversation?
We've covered a lot. I just appreciate every moment. I really do. I cherish every moment. I've not always had success. I have had those trials and tribulations throughout my career and throughout my, personal life growing up. And you don't have to come from, you can come out of a bad situation and achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in this business. Those same hands that lifted the trophy have touched the glass to speak to my father in prison before, it doesn't matter where you come from. You can get wherever you want to get when you're partnering with the right organization. And so I would just say that, for those that I've had the pleasure of working with, thank you. I love you guys. You've been so amazing to me and my family. For those that I haven't, or maybe not worked directly with very often, I wish you nothing but success and thriving and growth, and whatever you want out of this business. I hope that you get this.
Michael, by the time this airs, I think folks will know what I know is that you're leaving Broad River Retail. And when we announced we were starting the podcast, you were one of the first people to raise your hand, get me on.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we were able to rearrange some things to get you on here before you were no longer a current memory maker. And you're one of not just my all-time favorite memory makers, and not just a Broad River Retail Hall of Famer, but you're one of my all-time favorite people. And so thank you for making the 3.5 hour drive to come record this podcast with me this morning. And I knew when you announced that you were leaving, I knew we had to get you on here and share your story before you left. I'm so glad that you did. And my life is richer and fuller for having known you, for our paths, for having crossed and interacted. And I have the utmost respect for you as a person, as a husband, as a father, as a son and grandson, and most importantly, as a man of God, as a man of faith. And I wish you nothing but the best that life has to offer, And I hope that you can look back and say that your time and experiences here were incredibly special, meaningful, impactful, and help to shape, mold, and develop the amazing man and person that you are today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, we'll conclude this episode, Stories from the River, the Michael Childers episode or episodes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
This has been fun.
So.